Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this special webinar. The theme for the webinar is solving the technology challenge in agencies. And it's one of the things that the pandemic has really brought to the fore. And as we start to hopefully move out of some kind of lockdown and going back to the new normal, the role that technology plays in the agency world is going to be even more critical. So we're going to see a real life example about an agency and what they are doing with our partner SharpSpring. Before I get on to that, I just want to do a bit of housekeeping. Next slide. So there will be the opportunity for you to ask questions, and if you could do that via the Q&A panel, we will answer them live at the end. And Terry, who is sitting behind the Alliance logo, will call upon you and can ask the question. Could you make sure that your phone lines are muted? And if you want to talk to each other, please do that through the chat window. If there's anybody from your team that is missing, or you really want to relive this whole experience, we are recording it. And the slides that Chip and John will take you through will be made available to you after the webinar. Next, please. So who's involved today? Well, just in terms of myself, I'm Clive Michon. I'm founding director of the Alliance of Independent Agencies, so we'll be known to a number of you. And I'm really here just to act as a compare. The two stars of this show are Chip House, who is Chief Marketing Officer of SharpSpring, and John Lyons, who's the Group Sales and Marketing Director for NDL Group, which includes Promotigo, an interesting software platform.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And what are we going to cover today? As I said at the beginning, we're going to be looking at a real life example, and John and Chip are going to be talking around the real life issues that and challenges faced by NDL and Promotigo, and actually how SharpSpring really was able to address that. Now, we know as the Alliance how some of that digital transformation and the role that SharpSpring can play. And I believe that another member, Scott Lawrence London, also has been an agency that has successfully employed SharpSpring in order to really transform their business. And you'll see that running live today in terms of NDL. So that's critical. And the great thing about, you'll see in terms of the SharpSpring, is it consolidates an awful lot of software and licenses that agencies are going to require as part of that digital transformation. So what reason why we've partnered with SharpSpring is it really helps agencies increase their bottom line, and that's what we aim to do as a group. It's allowing new revenue streams to be created, and what we've seen through COVID is a level of pivoting, and there's been a level of creating new products, and agencies have done that, and that helpfully allows agencies to grow and therefore safeguards jobs. So that's why the Alliance and SharpSpring partnership has been so valuable. But I will now shut up. I'd like to introduce you to John, who will introduce you to the NDL Group before bringing Chip in to explore together about the journey that they've been on. So John, over to you.
Thank you, Clive. Next slide, please. So yeah, I'll give you a bit of backstory about NDL. And so we are a promotional marketing services agency. For more than 20 years, we've supported brands, media owners, and agencies in delivering prize promotions, rewards and incentive programs. We like to say anything from a free cup of coffee to a money can't buy experience, managed end-to-end and 100% compliant. Our services, we kind of work with rewards and prizes and incentives. We work with promotional technology, and that's certainly the Promotigo arm, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about how we're looking to integrate with SharpSpring later. We also work on end-to-end promotional marketing services, from campaign planning through compliance and delivery, and price fulfillment and winner management. And all of that's kind of underpinned by our fully bonded in-house travel agency and our VIP customer service team. And we like to say that we create happy advocates by turning big ideas into winning experiences. So in terms of the systems that we've had to date, until very recently, we had a sales CRM that was separate from the email marketing CRM, two accountancy platforms. So NDL was using a different one from Promotigo, and we are now moving towards a shared one. A job management platform, which was internally developed, a winner management platform, integration with Promotigo, and many more things, including social media. And all of these were completely disconnected unless we went through the arduous task of exporting CSVs and importing CSVs, etc.
Anything more to add, John?
No, I think that kind of shows the pile of stuff that we had going on that was taking up far more of my time than I would have liked.
Right, and I know we're going to drill into a little bit more of that later here. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chip House with SharpSpring, and Clive, thank you, by the way, for allowing us to be part of this. And we love our partnership with the Alliance, and John, anxious to have you share your story. It's such a good one here. And you know, in general for us, the agency community, digital agencies are really around the globe are very important to us. And you'll see later when I talk more about SharpSpring, how they make up a large chunk of our revenue, frankly, and our focus. And we have a few thousand agencies that we're working with, you know, but a big piece of what we're trying to support you on is how you support your customers. And so when we talk about challenges, it's really challenges of the marketer, right? I mean, you all have your own agency challenges, you know, but a lot of them are driven trying to meet the needs of your customers. And clearly marketers are looking for a better ROI and one that's measurable. And, you know, as marketers, as we've tried to solve this problem over the past several years, many of us have these rapidly increasing tech stacks similar to what John just showed you that we just sort of found ourselves in. And they're not integrating well, right? So 61% of marketers want better integration between their marketing tools and an improved process for sharing data among the tools. And, you know, it's not just a single channel that we have to be experts at as marketers and as agency folks these days. We have to know many, whether it's email or social or SEO or display tactics. And so when we think about the technology stack, here's a little bit more detail. As a marketer, you might find yourself in, you know, the need to have an email marketing platform. And so you choose one of the logos listed above there. It could be MailChimp. You'll also need a landing page solution for managing inbound campaigns, and you might choose another solution. And, you know, social, CRM, et cetera, on around the circle, right? It's a little mind-blowing, all the different tools you can end up with as a marketer. And, you know, there are individual contracts and multiple things to learn and multiple people to call. But maybe more importantly, none of it works together well at all. So there's different applications, they're siloed. The databases are separate. Each tends to be dumb and oblivious to what the other one is doing. And so, you know, as marketers, we're looking for that common source of the truth that you're just not going to find using this type of tech stack. You're not going to get that common view of the customer journey, the customer experience. So, and that's what this slide is kind of drilling into. I mean, it's really sort of impossible to track that unified experience when that's your technology strategy. So you don't have the data needed to feel confident about the marketing spend. Your tools are clumsy and unreliable. You might be delivering fragmented reports to your boss, which no CEO likes. And so, you know, that's sort of the real world that, you know, I think probably resonates with many of the folks on the phone. So I think that I use that sort of as a stage setter, so to speak, for bringing it back to John's challenge. And, you know, he can talk more about his own tech stack.
Yeah, sure. So as you can see, we had a number of different tools that we were running. So Sugar CRM was the sales database, and sales CRM, and that was just about opportunity management and contact management. It had no easy integration with Dotmailer, which is what we were using for our email campaigns. So whenever we're sending out newsletters or kind of running our own internal promotions. I mean, one of the things that our clients love is that every Christmas we do a Christmas campaign where there's a chance to win great things. So it's a brilliant opportunity for us to show our creativity in terms of prize selection and winner management. And the clients all know that there's a good chance of them winning, and we use the email platform for that. And that's a very heavy-handed process of exporting data from a sugar, exporting data from Dotmailer, seeing what's in both, then re-importing and sending it out. So just an example of how painful that was. HubSpot we use for top of the funnel tracking and intelligence. So we had that plugged on the back of the website and attached to emails so that we could see people that were following up, people that were clicking through, people that were opening emails that we were sending out, which is something that I really loved from HubSpot. The opportunity to see that person that hasn't replied or hasn't got back to you since you sent them a quote, they're still opening your email. So you're not dead in the water yet. For social, we were using Buffer and Hootsuite. And with the accountancy, we were using Access and Xero.
It's quite a stack. Yeah, and over what period of time was this, John?
So I mean, some of these came on slightly later. So Buffer and Hootsuite probably only over the last couple of years, and I think HubSpot probably in last year. But Dotmailer, Sugar, and the accountancy packages go back. I mean, Sugar, I was kind of blown away when I joined NDL. We've got stuff in there that goes back well over a decade.
Right, and so when you went about trying to solve this problem, what was your approach to doing that, and how long did it take?
Good question. So I mean, I think the first thing was what I was looking to solve wasn't the entirety of what we ended up solving. What we were looking to solve was replacing Sugar CRM and hopefully doing that with something that had the same functionality as HubSpot. And actually HubSpot was one of the platforms that we looked at in terms of moving up the channel with that and taking more things in there. So it was very much about the tracking, the intelligence, the contact intelligence through HubSpot, and a much easier to use, more flexible and more possible to integrate sales CRM. So I think we weren't initially looking at moving away from the social and the email channels until we came and spoke to SharpSpring and realized that was an opportunity.
That's great. I appreciate the detail there. So we talked about how to represent the new world order now that you're working with SharpSpring, and you can see that essentially we've been able to replace 4 of those 5 bubbles per se with the capabilities that exist within our revenue growth platform. So there's both top of funnel intelligence, sales pipeline, newsletters and mass email, and then social native to the platform as well, all built around the CRM. And then we're integrating with your accounting platform Xero. What else would you add to this, John?
Well, so I mean, one of the great things with SharpSpring is the ability to integrate with almost any third-party platform. So there is a plugin that allows us to directly integrate into Xero, which is great. So we can connect that up and it becomes part of the same stack, even though it's not internal to SharpSpring. But also some of the tools that are available through the API tools is we can connect in our winner management, we can connect in our job management. So whilst not everything will be running through SharpSpring, everything will be connected to it, and that's kind of allowed us to really streamline the finance function, but also the kind of job management and the sales and marketing function.
Great. Yeah, I think focusing on the sales and marketing team is definitely what we're trying to do. It's often a contentious relationship sometimes in different organizations, the sales and the marketing team, and our goal is to give them one platform to work together with or on. This is a quote from you. I don't know if you had other color, John.
Well, I mean, I think probably where we were is, as a heritage business, we were the first in our subcategory 25 years ago, kind of prize and winner management. So evolving the business and staying relevant is essential. And that's what's kept us going all of this period of time. So the previous setup at scale, as you've seen, it was cumbersome, it was manual, and it wasn't really supporting the growth that we were trying to develop. So we knew that we needed a digital transformation, and for our client management and with our clients, we knew that we needed to kind of bring that on board as well. So over the last couple of years, and we really knuckled down on it during kind of the first and second, and God knows how many lockdowns we've been through now, but kind of took a step back and we looked at the business across the board. And by that, you know, there are a number of businesses within the group, kind of Promotigo, NDL primarily, CodeString, and even within NDL, there's in effect 2 or 3 different teams. So we were able to take a step back and review the business structure, review the market proposition, implement new sales and marketing strategies, put in place strategic new hires, and then we knew we needed something behind that would help us run that, because, you know, my role, I have a bit of a dual role. I'm kind of sales and marketing director of the group, but I also head the studio. So when there are more complicated moving parts with promotions, whether it's compliance or ideas or kind of just running the whole thing down to the end, that's where I come in, and juggling that with manually overseeing what isn't a huge sales and marketing effort, but still is a sizable one across kind of 2-3 businesses, become very difficult without streamlining. And so being able to kind of pull in SharpSpring, we were able to really make a lot more effort, cut out my day-to-day pouring through spreadsheets, give me the opportunity to see what's going on, use the automation to help a lot of the kind of whip cracking that I kind of do with our client services and sales team on a weekly basis, and leave more time for kind of being face-to-face with clients and talking about promotions.
Right, so you're getting more productivity back into your day. I mean, because you're a leader for sales and marketing, which is nice, by the way. So you have a view of the whole experience.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, I guess my background has been in agency leadership, and I've kind of founded a couple of small niche agencies in the past. So I've always kind of sat across both. And you know, I had a period in consultancy where it was kind of sales and marketing strategies and technology for primarily for agencies. So it's something that I kind of I think it was a bit of an added bonus when I came to NDL. I think Nick was quite pleased that I had that experience, and I was able to put it more into play when we needed to look at the business, when we needed to get through that lockdown and that difficult period. And, you know, pleased to say that we have, and we've been able to, with the support of the board and the team across the businesses, been able to kind of implement these strategies and get moving and build a good pipeline. And this year's looking up.
That's great. Yeah, you're certainly not alone with some of those challenges you saw over the last year. And I know there were other considerations that came into it, John. So this, I guess, is kind of back to that discussion. If there's anything else you would add for how you made this decision.
Well, so I mean, I think what we initially looked at was, okay, what sales CRMs are out there that we know about? There's HubSpot that we'd started using on a fairly low level. I've had a lot of experience with Zoho in the past, Salesforce, etc. So we were looking at those, and you know that they were only going to tick 1 or 2 boxes with the entire stack. But you know, as Alliance members, we've got some familiarity with SharpSpring, and you know, kind of speaking to Clive, he basically said, before you make your decision, John, just go and have a chat. And he, you know, was kind enough to arrange an intro call. And it was great, because as we asked more questions, we saw more benefits, and we kind of came to realize it was capable of replacing much of the existing stack, not just those 2 things we started with. And plus, something that we weren't expecting at all is that, you know, it's going to have the capability to fully integrate with our custom platforms, including Promotigo. So, you know, we see a lot of opportunity there. So it really did tick all the boxes we needed, and some we didn't even realize we needed, which is, you know, fantastic.
Yeah, and so bringing it down to the 1,000-foot level, I guess, you know, and drilling into all the different technologies that you replaced, right? So you looked at HubSpot for campaign support and social, right, and Sugar CRM, and so this is just again puts a finer point on exactly what decisions you made. Yeah,
and you know, in all honesty, this is a kind of it almost perfectly represents the conversation I had on either the first or the second call with one of your guys, where it's like, oh, okay, so show me through it. Right, okay, so we don't need HubSpot. Okay, so we don't need Sugar CRM. Great. And oh, you've got an email program. You've just killed Dotmailer. We don't need Ad Manager anymore. You've killed all of these other things. I think that was the terminology that I was using. You've just killed Buffer. And basically, as we went through the functionality, we just realized that all of these things were in there. Almost too good to be true, to be honest, until I started using it. And yeah, it does what it says on the slide. We were able to kind of make all of those integrations and replacements swiftly with SharpSpring.
Yeah, one of the things that when you're coming on as a new customer at SharpSpring, right, we give you a dedicated onboarding manager who works with you for a period of time. Can you talk more about how your experience has been? Pros and obviously a few challenges that you might have encountered.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, we're still in the onboarding process technically, and actually 3 o'clock today, I had one of my twice weekly calls with Kerry, who's our onboarding manager, and it's been great. I mean, we kind of started with some very top level kind of 10,000 foot ideas of what was going on. I'm at the point now where we're using it. Everything's in there. And what I'm trying to work out is what extra clever things that we can do right now. So today we were talking about the kind of the action groups and the automated workflows. So I was able to add an automated workflow which alerts people when their opportunities have gone past the pass date and they're not closed, which used to be a manual thing. I used to have to run a report on that weekly and say, why haven't you done something with these? Sometimes to myself. But all of that's in there. So we've had 2 calls a week. We've got homework between them. We were given plenty of material to follow. Some of the sessions have been recorded so that we can share them amongst the team, again, because we've got a number of businesses across the group using this. So my experience with the onboarding manager has been fantastic, to the extent that there's been a few times where I just couldn't work out what was going on or make sense of things, and she was able to go back and speak to the team, and we had some of the dev guys get in touch about various problems that we were having. I think probably the most difficult thing I found was importing data exported from another platform. One of the things was almost comical because it's you guys, I love Americans. I used to work for Americans, but please sort out your date order. The date format does my head in. And that was one of the things I found, that we actually had to go through and in Excel, run a little Excel script to change the date format. But every time we stumbled across something that didn't work, I was able to go back to the team and get assistance with it. And it took a couple of goes, but we were able to highlight exactly what it was. And most of it actually seemed to be with the way that Sugar CRM exported its data. I think the slight difficulty I had with using the platform myself, kind of in a lot of room getting on with it, is understanding quite why things were getting rejected. But then when I was able to speak to our onboarding manager or the tech guys through support, they were able to make that clear. And suddenly, a little bit of, I ended up teaching myself Excel coding. I never thought that day would come in my life, but I ended up doing that to get everything in that I needed. And it worked, So that was probably the only challenge I had, getting the data in. But we're still on the onboarding process. And as each week goes by, we're talking about more sophisticated marketing methods, kind of drip email chains, setting up the kind of webinar content and landing page stuff. So we're moving on that, and we've as I think I'll talk about on a later slide, we've used it actively already, and we're seeing the benefits.
Right. Well, that's good. And thank you for sharing your experience. I have the same issue with dates, by the way, when I go overseas, and I have to fill out my card, when I'm arriving in the country. So the date thing, it should all be the same. We should all be using the metric system too. I'll just go ahead and say it. So in terms of the onboarding, though, I mean, it's definitely something that we focus on, and the goal is the onboarding manager to help you actually build your initial funnel, and get you productive as soon as possible, in up 45 to 60 days or less, depending on what your specific needs are.
No, and it's been less for us. And I think the thing is, when we were looking at some of the alternatives, you have to be spending quite a whack with HubSpot to get anywhere near the level of support that we've got with SharpSpring. And there is that kind of startup cost that comes with it, but I mean, we've got our money's worth out of it. Absolutely. We've been supported with getting it set up, getting it running, and we've still got several weeks to go. So, kind of Kerry's been looking at what I've been doing and saying, oh, that looks good. What about this? What have you thought about this? So it's been very supportive.
Good. And I think there's the bit of the vision that you were going to share with Promotigo and drill into what that is, John.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, Promotigo is a cloud-based promotions engine that we developed in-house a number of years ago. And it's in effect a white label software, and it powers promotions in some of the world's best known brands, and promotions use it. We're under NDA, so we're not allowed to say who they are, but if you ever play a particular board game whilst eating a hamburger, you'd have an idea of one, or multinational kind of multi-brand corporates as well. So it takes care of all the unsexy stuff under the bonnet. So everything to do with processing winners, processing data, storage of data, compliance, having a smooth and rewarding experience for consumers, everything is done within Promotigo. And it's something that was kind of developed, as I say, in-house. We had technical expertise, and of course we've got a couple of decades of promotional marketing expertise. So it's the platform that I think we would have always wanted had we been able to take one off the shelf. And what we're now looking at it with, as well as kind of taking that out to market and using SharpSpring behind the website that we're going to be launching soon for Promotigo and the marketing activities, is actually how we can integrate SharpSpring and Promotigo together. As we say here, as cookies are disappearing, it's more important for agencies to comply with first party data requirements. And Promotigo is built around data security, so it securely and compliantly stores and processes all of that personal information data. And so integrating SharpSpring into Promotigo and vice versa will allow us to add value through promotions, prize draws, sampling campaigns, incentivized lead generation that SharpSpring users will be able to use through us building into the plugin, building into the API. So as well as you having your list of customers and contacts, you can run promotions through it. And we're going to be using this ourselves, I think, this Christmas. So I mentioned earlier our Christmas campaign. Now that we've got the email and the sales CRM in one place, it kind of makes sense for us to feed everything through, so long as we've got the API set up in time. But so actually to run everything through Promotigo connected into SharpSpring, to send, to validate, to qualify, to prize and win manage. And we can do that. The great thing with Promotigo is it's an engine, it sits in the background. So it can sit and do that off the back of it, and nobody ever really needs to see the front end. So for us, we see a lot of potential in terms of growing the Promotigo market by making it available as an add-on to SharpSpring users, as well as using it ourselves for our own campaigns.
It looks super interesting, and I would love to connect with you over time, John, just to learn a bit more about it. So, are there other things you would add for Promotigo? I know we're going to come back to you here at the end. I just want to make sure that we're moving along.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I think the key thing is, we've reimagined Promotigo over the last year as part of the kind of the growth planning. And whilst it's still that white label, we think we've got a proposition that's really ready for market. We need to be out there marketing and selling it now, rather than just through NDL. So, we've set it up, we've readied it for market, and SharpSpring is going to be crucial to that. So, Deb, who is kind of running the sales operation over at Promotigo, she's been on the onboarding process with me, with Kerry, and we're getting it set up for both, and we're using it for both pipelines at the moment as well. And then again, it's a case of, well, if you're using SharpSpring and you want to run a promotion, we can help you do that cost effectively and really securely.
Great. So early on, I didn't talk a ton about SharpSpring, but how we think about it is it's a full funnel revenue growth platform, focused on helping agencies, number one, develop higher value relationships with their customers, increase retention and recurring revenue by adding more capabilities to you to manage your clients' needs around marketing, as we talked about. And so there are specific benefits of adding SharpSpring that we're targeting when we think about why we're doing what we're doing. And one is, increased client conversions. So helping your clients really see how you're able to drive campaign results on their behalf, measurable results. I talked about the marketer's challenge before. They're trying to know how their dollars are being utilized and what portion is working and what portion is not working, frankly. And then a growing revenue stream as well. And your clients get more leads, they're going to convert more leads to sales and optimize their whole funnel with the approach that we take with this unified platform that we think of as a revenue growth platform. And we put it in this wheel because we're thinking about the customer life cycle from the first touch through the close, basically through the closed won sale with your company, and then on into expansion as you support those customers longer term and engage with them to renew business with you, et cetera. So attract, capture, engage, convert, expand. And you can see the larger sort of categories of products that we have. We have SharpSpring ads for retargeting campaigns and social media for social campaigns. We just launched an Instagram integration fairly recently and announced it. Marketing automation, which includes drip campaigns and landing pages and things like that. Email and dynamic email, a full featured CRM for the sales and marketing team, and then sales engagement tools as well. That all sits on the common platform. We think of the secret sauce, if you will, as what we call conversion 360, which basically means it's the combination of having customer behavioral data and the ability to act on that data all in the same platform for your marketing and sales teams. So the idea is, not only do I know demographic information, I know how customers are interacting with my business throughout their life cycle. That becomes very real inside the platform with something we call life of the lead. And this tends to be a very popular feature with our customers. And John, I think you had your own experience first time you saw this.
Yeah, I love this. So yeah, it's kind of, well, I mean, I'll talk in a little bit about kind of some of the stuff that we've used so far, but being able to see almost live on the fly what's happening. So someone's received the email, they've opened the email, they've clicked the link, they've replied, and yeah, there's now a brief. And it's just a really, really useful visual, but really effective way of seeing where you are with every contact. And yeah, as I'll be talking about later, we've seen opportunities come through already.
Yeah, I think a lot of marketers talk about the customer journey or life cycle and have a plan for how they're going to optimize that journey, but a lot of them don't have the view into what's really happening with individual customers or leads that come into your funnel. And so I just tried to add a visual here for any lead inside of SharpSpring. Once they become known, you can understand how they're progressing through your funnel. So it might start with a social campaign that you can drill in and see the history of, well, which social campaign was it? Then they would be visiting your website, and that would be trackable with our tracking. Being able to retarget those using SharpSpring ads, being able to use that data to drive a dynamic landing page targeted at that specific individual, potentially with the name of the specific sales rep that they've been working with. If the customer's not ready to buy, introducing them into a nurture cycle with a drip campaign, then those can be all programmed and automated, so they'll happen over a period of days, weeks, months, et cetera, based on the response. And then finally, create a sales task for your selling team to follow up. So I just wanted to bring that life of the lead to life for you, if you will, by drilling in for what it could look like. And so I'll talk more about now our focus on the agency market. I touched on this earlier. 90% of our revenues from agencies. We have about 2,000 agencies that are on the platform today. And this has been our focus for a number of years, probably 6 or 7 years. And I just want to run through the key benefits. So there's number one, there's new revenue for your agency. So we tend to be less than our competitors, often 1/10 of the cost, definitely for agencies, allowing you to price the platform as you will and create money with your first client that you end up bringing on the platform. In addition to using it for yourselves, you can decide what you charge. There's the option for obviously new and recurring revenue from this platform. And there's both annual and month-to-month options as well. And we're really the only company that has this business model. And because of that, we have very agency-focused features. So there's the multi-client platform with single sign-on, allowing you to access all of your different customer accounts from your dashboard, being able to manage client billing as well through our platform. There's a rebrandable user interface, so you can use your brand on it, if you will, being able to share templates with your clients once you've created them. And then we pride ourselves in the integration capabilities. I mean, there's a number of native integrations. You could choose to use Salesforce, for example, as a CRM. If you wanted to integrate that in with SharpSpring. And then, there's things, if we can't integrate via natively, we use middleware tools like Zapier to be able to connect some of those integrations. So those are some of our agency support or agency specific features. And then there's the free support that we talked about, just the dedicated onboarding expert, the unlimited agency support and training, sales demo and assistance certification programs. So as you and your people inside the agency learn the platform, you can get certified and have extra benefits as well for being a certified agency. And then there's an agency only community as well, and ongoing training and webinars and things like that for our customers. And so ultimately we're really built around your success. That's the idea. So I appreciate being able to run through that. I know those may answer some of the questions that people had. Have that been your experience thus far, John?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing that I'd throw in there, which for me is a massive benefit, is we're not limited to seat usage, and that's where a lot of the competitive set can get really, really expensive adding seats in. We're able to add multiple seats into this, and it doesn't increase the budget. It just increases the usability and the flexibility. And again, from my perspective, trying to make sure that I'm focusing on what only I can do rather than doing a bit of everything. That's a lot easier when we're not having to pay large amounts of money for other people to get into the system.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for adding that. I'll have to update my slide for next time around. I think I reduced the slide where that was there. And so I think we have some additional sort of summary slides here, John, to talk about where you're at today.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, this is some of the things that we've been doing. So as I said, we've got 3 new or organic business teams across the 2 companies. And with SharpSpring support, we've been able to create a custom shared database. So we all have access to the same database because we're all selling complementary things and we are part of the same group. But we've been able to kind of build in 3 specific pipelines. So Prize and Reward has a pipeline, Studio has a pipeline, Promotigo has a pipeline. And quite often, previously, we would have projects where we would have all 3 departments working on a project. And it became a bit confusing in the previous sales CRM, whereas here we're able to kind of share that and manage those pipelines separately for opportunity management. We've also brought in some custom fields that we require for our management reporting, and which we've imported via the CRM migration tool. And the CRM migration tool, other than me struggling with getting the data correct to go in, was super useful. And in terms of what we've done, I mean, so we've been able to create custom lists. So we've imported our contacts, we've imported our accounts, we've imported our opportunities, and we've been able to create custom lists either manually or automated based on whether or not it's persona or different, kind of ownership within the company of contacts to create lists that we can then use for email. So the one that I did to test with was, okay, well, let's look at people that are close proximity but not currently active leads in my contact list. And yeah, I created an email template, which you can see there in the middle, that's basically replicates my footer. So it just looks like a standard email. And I kind of sent it out as a soft touch email to, I don't know, it's probably about just over a dozen people. It wasn't many, so close but not currently active, people we've pitched, etc., sharing a campaign that we just launched. So at the bottom there, you can see the Regina Blitz Christmas design competition. Yes, believe it or not, we are running a Christmas competition in this bloody heat at the moment. But the whole point of this campaign, which we ran for the first time with them last year, is it's giving consumers the opportunity to design the Christmas packaging for the product and win an absolutely stunning Christmas at home. So, last year we had, I don't know, kind of 6, 7, 10 grand's worth of prizes for the winning design. It goes out to public vote. So there's lots of stages. There's, we're having to run into the print run requirements of it, but it's a fantastic campaign, and it's a lovely model, and it's kind of created a lot of good feedback from the consumers, but also created a lot of content for the brand last year. So we wanted to share that with these people that we've pitched to in the past. And what we were able to see through the tracking and tagging is 9 of the 16 people that it was sent to opened it within the first couple of days. We got 2 replies, 1 come through with 2 new briefs, and those proposals were put into that client today, and looking positive. So it's been well received, and all of that was done and seen when you showed the kind of life cycle of the lead. I could see when that particular contact had opened the email that she'd clicked. And it's logged the conversation since, which is super useful using the sync email tool. So we've got that in there, and we've used the same tracking methodology with social posts. So you can kind of see at the top there, we've been putting out little reminders of, hey, these are some really interesting things that you can do. Now that the world is starting to open up a little bit. So power up your promo. As a heritage company and as a company that very much believes in compliance, we're not risk takers in terms of what we do with our clients' customers. So we spend a lot of time kind of making sure that if we've got prizes, those prizes can either be delivered in the current climate, or we've got a brilliant kind of alternative version that can do so. And so we've just been kind of putting that content out, and we're going to do a bit of a drip campaign. We're going to do a landing page campaign on it, and we've done some tag LinkedIn posts, and we've been able to see that we're getting click-throughs, we're getting interest through from those, and it's kind of tying, as I think you mentioned before, once we've identified someone, once they've had an interaction that allows us to identify them at any point, at any touch point, we then can identify them through almost everything else. So if Andrew has clicked on the email and then he clicks on an ad, we know that Andrew's done both of those. And I'm saying that because Andrew at least was here earlier. I don't know if he's still here as a participant, because he was threatening to barrack me and make my life difficult. Thank you, Andrew. But yeah, so all of that's kind of tied in, and we're hopefully going to be closing on those 2 projects this week or next, which is a really nice turnaround when we're still only halfway through the onboarding process.
Very good. I love the detail, and thanks for sharing it, John. And I think you shared a lot of these things, and I want to make sure that we have time for questions
Sure.
from the audience. And I think, Terry, you were, as the orchestrator of this here event, you were going to take some questions from those that are attending.
Yes, I've got a question here from Chris Westlake from Vitamin C. I was just thinking I'd get him to ask that live for you guys. Chris, are you there to come on screen for us?
Hi there. Thanks very much for the presentation so far. Yeah, I had a question about cost, predictably. You've touched upon setup cost, you touched upon sort of value versus the competition. I just wanted to understand a bit more about how the commercial model works. Does the cost increase with the functionality? A lot of the competition kind of every time, you know, you can get in, but every time you want additional functionality, the cost goes up. So, you know, basically does more features equal higher cost? And if, you know, as an agency, you deploy it for a number of different clients, how does that work commercially as well?
Sure. So I guess drilling into the first one, initially, you get the whole platform for the price of SharpSpring, and generally unlimited users and lots of headroom for the number of contacts that you can bring in for your clients. And then, you know, generally our agency contracts include a license for the agency, and then a certain number of other licenses to support your clients. So our general pricing is based on 1 for the agency plus 3 client accounts per se, all packaged together. And then, you know, within that, there's, you know, the ability to add more sub clients over time. And we have, you know, some agencies with just a few clients on the platform, and some with 10, 20, 50 or more.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Great. And I think we have another question here from Charmaine, and she comes from Rant and Rave Agency. Charmaine, would you like to come on camera? There she is.
Hi, Charmaine.
Hi, sorry, just as my name got mentioned, my computer decided to go crazy. I'm glad to be back online. My question is regarding the social media tool. Do you offer analytics as part of the package, or is that an add-on that comes with a cost?
Yeah, I mean, the whole platform is sort of wrapped, how I think about it, in tracking and analytics. So, you know, anything that happens via social is tracked and, you know, back into the CRM and the life of the lead. So I would consider that one of the metrics as well. So not only is there a calendaring tool for social, but there's the ability to see how it's impacting your customers and driving and contributing to your funnel, if you will. So
are the reports downloadable, so shareable with the customers, for instance, the clients?
Yes, and I'd love, John, I don't know if you've gotten that far yet, if you're doing any of that yet. So probably not, huh?
I haven't done downloading, but I've certainly been looking at the reports, and yeah, to me the analytics are really useful because it spreads across the board. So it kind of takes us from just the social platform into the contact level, so we can kind of see exactly what's going on there. Some of the other nice things that are in there in terms of the analytics and tracking is, you know, you can use a very simple UTM tag to allocate campaigns to content that you've put out, and we've certainly done that. But even, and I got reminded of this today by Kerry, actually. So I've been kind of retweeting and our team have been reposting some of the stuff that the Lyons have been talking about, you know, in the lead up to this. And I'd forgotten that you can tag any external media. So even if something is a link somewhere else, there's a way in SharpSpring of tagging it. So it will still come back into your pipeline, but load up the external content. So yeah, Kerry sort of raised her eyebrows at me with that. It's like, John, we did that weeks ago. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I've done lots since. So, you know, the ability to track almost anything that you put out almost anywhere. I'll be honest, I haven't seen that before, but yeah. And one of the things I'm doing at the moment is working a lot on customizing reports, not just the analytics, but yeah, there's a lot of detail, but not so much. It's not like when you go in Google Analytics and there's almost too much. Good for freeze. It sort of gets down to the bottom of it. It's about, you know, who we get interaction with.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Charmaine. And you know, I am not a product expert, right, on exactly if you have deeper questions on the tracking, but would love to set you up on a phone call. Somebody could walk on our team that could walk you through too. So just let us know. Terry, are there other questions?
I think Clive is going to be joining us now because I think he's got some questions.
Actually, I haven't got any questions. I think it covered everything off. I mean, I think what we've seen this afternoon is a very live experience of an agency that, even in John's view, is only about halfway through its onboarding, but is using it successfully, and it's jettisoned a number of other licenses of things that it already had. And great praise for the SharpSpring support system to get them on board so quickly and building. So I don't think one can say more than that. And as I said at the beginning, from the Alliance point of view, that has been a user of SharpSpring for the last year, it has transformed our business. And as John said earlier, it does what it says on the tin. So that's so that is endorsement, but don't take it from me. I think take it from John, take it from Scott Lawrence, take it from Terry, who's probably the key master of how SharpSpring is operated. And as I said, we will be sharing all of these slides and a link to, if you want to watch highlights of this again, but included with the slides that we'll send you will be a link in order that you can get a personalized demo from SharpSpring and see for yourself. But as I said, don't take my word for it. Take John Lyons and NDL and Promotigo's word for it. As I said, they're not too far into it. So all I really want to say as we reach towards the end of our hour, thank you very much indeed for Chip for spending an hour of your morning with us. John, thank you very much indeed to spending an hour of your late afternoon with us, and you can now go to a bar or somewhere because we can drink outside now. And thank you very much for all those who've attended. It's been really helpful because it's
and Clive. I'm sorry, and Clive. I love that quote. It says it does what it says on the tin. We're gonna have to talk about that as a messaging campaign or something. I think it's phenomenal. So and thank you again, Clive and John, for sharing your experiences, and thanks to everybody that attended. And as Clive mentioned here, we do have a special offer for Alliance members, and you can find it there, sharpspring.com/alliance. And you can get access to a demo and just learn more about the platform. And then you can choose whether or not you obviously take advantage of the offer. But if nothing else, I'd encourage you to get a demo and learn more about the platform. And I went by the slide, not intentional. I just wanted to make sure I make it here, could make it here as well. Visit NDL Group if you have more questions for John and team as well. So I'll leave it there, and I'll let you guys say your final words too.
Okay. Well, look, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for everybody, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Okay. Thanks a lot.